All right, guys, welcome. Today I have some pretty amazing drone footage to share with you guys and a fun story to go along with it. We'll get into all the details, but a quick rundown is that I captured something that I really haven't seen before down at the river. And what makes it even better is this is one of my first time flying the new DJI Mavic drone. So I was out there just kind of testing it out, wanting to get some fun footage. And I captured this with the drone, live recording, and I was able to get very, very close to it. I got right up to it, and I just couldn't believe it. You know, what are the chances that the one time this happens, I was flying my drone in the middle of the river, and I was able to capture this. So it's absolutely amazing, but don't worry, we will get to that footage, but I do want to share like kind of how it all happened as well. So if you guys do enjoy this video, please do drop a like and subscribe. I will be doing more drone videos in the future. Kind of the reason why I was doing this in the first place was to get kind of like footage to do a review video on what I think of the new DJI Mavic mini drone, because it's just exceptional. It's so small, and this is my first drone. Now, I've flown plenty of things before, but never a DJI drone. So this is my first one from them, and I mean, it's amazing. But we'll get to a review in a different video. This is more of the story video. So basically, like I said, I was down there at the river, because we have the river near our house. It's the Willamette River, and I was trying to just get some cool footage. I went with my girlfriend and her dog, Sammy. So we were pretty much just trying to get some cool footage, kind of like this. But basically, I was just trying to get some cool footage like that, and by no means is that great footage. You know, I'm just learning this thing, trying to get better, but I was trying to figure out how to get some cool shots and just experience different things, different winds and environments to fly this thing in. So this was happening on January 1st, brand new year, 2020, brand new decade, so it really couldn't have been better. Perfect time to fly it, just kind of experience some new stuff right at the beginning of the year, just for fun memories to look back on. So we were having a good time. We were walking down there. There were a lot of people out there at the park, so I kept having to kind of go farther and farther because I didn't really want to be distracted by a bunch of people asking me, oh, what's that? What's a drone? Can I watch you do it? Whatever, asking me questions. That's fine if someone walks across or whatever, but we just wanted to walk out kind of far along the beach to get to a pretty isolated spot where I could just enjoy it. So we finally found a decent spot, and then, you know, I was flying it a little bit like that, and I kind of landed it because there were more people walking by. I was just going to let them pass. But then, all of a sudden, my girlfriend Brooklyn, she looks in the water, and she sees something there, and we didn't know what it was because it made a huge splash. She didn't really see it at first, and then it comes up again. Another huge splash, a big thing, and this time I'm seeing it, but I don't know what I'm seeing because it's kind of far away, and it looked, honestly, at first, like the very first thing I thought was like some sort of alligator crocodile. Obviously, that's not what it is. They don't live where we do, so I was like, of course, that's not what it is. What could it be? I thought maybe a sturgeon. They're big, big fish. Usually, they like to stay a little bit lower down in the water, so it didn't really make sense, but they can definitely come up to the surface like that. So I thought we were seeing a huge sturgeon, which in itself is not necessarily rare or anything. I've seen sturgeon plenty of times before, but definitely not super common to see on the surface. And I thought this is a perfect opportunity to, you know, fly the drone, get some cool footage. But then I see it again, and no way is that a sturgeon. I realize what it was. But this is just some of the first footage. It gets way better because once I realized what it was and kind of was able to follow it through the water, it was amazing. But this is the first footage that I got at the very beginning. So if you can't tell, or if you don't really live around water, what that is actually a sea lion, and it's quite a big sea lion. Now, we never see sea lions in the Willamette River. Sometimes what I see is otters, and even though those are very rare, like I said, we're boating along the river quite often. We go paddle boarding, we hang out by the river, we swim in there, whatever. We're in the river quite often, especially during the summer months, but definitely sometimes around the winter months as well. And you don't see stuff like that. Like, we don't see otters or sea lions. I specifically haven't seen a sea lion in the winter just going along like that. But what's even crazier is some of the things I captured it doing. So I was super excited. I mean, what are the odds of that? Finally getting to fly my drone, finally head down to the river, and the second that I pretty much like put it in the sky, a sea lion comes swimming along casually, splashing out of the water. Because sometimes what you might see is like they're chilling out, but that's still not too common. Of course, if you have a dock and you're living by the river, it'll happen a little bit more often. But for someone that doesn't live on the river, to see that in the perfect moment, January 1st, 2020, flying the drone for one of the first times, it was amazing. And just the cherry on the cake was the next footage that I got as well. So at this point, I was thinking, oh, come on, I want it to do something crazy. I want to fly closer. At this point, an old couple was walking towards us, and they saw it too, and they were amazed. And then they saw the drone, and they were super excited that I would be getting footage of it. So we were trying to figure out, you know, what's the best way we can go about it. So I was trying to track it, because again, it's underwater most of the time. It was kind of popping its head up here and there to get air and maybe to do, you know, just to mess around. And as you'll see, it definitely was just having some fun. But yeah, I was trying to follow it. So I might show some of that footage right now, just kind of seeing little glimpses of it pop up and out. And then I would fly over there, and he would just go back under. So I wasn't sure, was he scared of the drone? Was I getting unlucky? What was going on? So I was at this for probably like 10 minutes, kind of doing that thing where I would fly over, he'd go under, I'd be looking, and then maybe kind of get him in the corner of the frame, and then he'd go back under, whatever. And then I get an amazing piece of footage where he is out kind of far away, not too far, because you can see it crystal clear, and I can actually zoom in on it, and it looks very, very clear. I catch him with a fish in his mouth, and he has the fish, and he swings it over his side of his head and smashes it into the water. Now, I could probably look it up to try to figure out why he was doing that, whether that was to like kill the fish, stun it or whatever. I don't think so, because he has huge teeth, a huge mouth. I would imagine he could probably just kill it that way. So I think he was probably just trying to have fun with it, mess around with it. So I think he was just flinging that fish out of the air and slapping it into the water for fun, kind of to show off whatever it may be. And I'll show you that clip right now. And it gets even better because then I knew where he was, and I was really trying to keep track of it. Again, he might go underwater, but lucky for me, I kind of predicted maybe whereabouts he would be the next time he comes up, and I got him coming back up, and this was the best one. The most time he spent above the water is right when I was up close to him, really close, and he's a big sea lion. I've seen, like I said, a couple sea lions around, you know, the Columbia-Willamette area in Portland, and this was a big one. Again, I'm not a sea lion expert. I'm sure there's going to be one person watching this that's like, that was a big one, or that was a really small one. I don't know. It looked pretty big to me, definitely bigger than some other ones I've seen. So he was a big guy in just the middle of the river, and he pops his head up, and he's swimming around, and I was able to zoom in so close. I was able to get maybe 10 feet from him, and he actually looks up at the camera. He had a fish in his mouth. He drops the fish, and he kind of just looks at the camera for a second, and then he goes off on his side, kind of opens his mouth up, and the details that I could get with this drone is spectacular. God, it's going to sound like an advertisement for DJI. I wish DJI was sponsoring me, because I was just stunned that the first time I'm flying this thing, it's so easy to fly. You know, I've flown things before, but I was able to get this footage of a sea lion just like that. I mean, it couldn't be any more perfect. I was like, this is what a National Geographic person feels like when they're going out there and they're finally capturing something. It's like, that was the moment. And you're just like, did I just really get that? And I know it's not the craziest thing, but a lot of people will be very interested in that because, you know, that isn't the most common thing to see, especially if you're filming it yourself, especially if it's January 1st, 2020. Like, everything just aligned perfectly, but it gets even better. So after I got that footage of him, I fly back because I'm like, dude, that was the footage that I was waiting for. I was trying to track him and get something cool. I fly it back, and the second that I land the drone, it starts pouring raining. I mean, pouring. Like, to the point where I was like struggling with my fingers. I was like nervous trying to get it back in the bag because I didn't want it to get wet. This thing is not waterproof. I don't know how much, you know, rain it can take. I don't want to really risk it because I don't want it to break. It's definitely not waterproof, definitely not meant to be in the rain. So I was like nervous trying to get it back in the bag, especially with it being brand new. So got it back in the bag, checked my phone. I was like, did I hit record everything? And there it was. And it was just incredible. Just a magical experience because when you're flying something like this for the first time, you don't really expect to get the perfect shot of something. And you certainly don't get to experience the perfect shot of something when you've never seen something like that before. You know, like if it was a squirrel jumping out of a tree, we've seen that a million times. If we've seen, you know, a deer even, that would be beautiful. And I would actually get really excited over that. But, you know, you do see deer more often here. A sea lion in the middle of the river in the winter smacking a fish around. Dude, we don't see that stuff here. So that was just unbelievable to capture with the drone. And definitely got me fueled up to want to fly this thing way more. So DJI, if you want to sponsor me, that would just be sick. Nah, they would never. Maybe one day, but this thing is incredible. And that footage was just an unbelievable experience. The stars just aligned. We went, you know, farther and farther down the river to try to get away from people. Finally, we put it up in the sky. That happens. We get the perfect shot. Happen to be at the right place, right time, even with the drone. And then, of course, we fly back, and it happened right before the pouring rain started. So it doesn't really get much better than that. If you guys did enjoy that little story time / amazing drone footage, please do drop a like. Like I said, follow me on social media as well. I'm sure you'll see some amazing drone photography from there. Again, amazing. I'm just an amateur. We're getting there, so it'll be a cool learning curve. You guys can come along with me and check that out. I also post stuff that isn't drone related as well, so if you do want to see that and follow me and interact with me, I'd appreciate it. Follow me on social media and comment down below, what did you see? Do you have a drone? And if you do, what's the craziest thing you've recorded on it so far, or what's kind of your dream shot? I would be very curious to see. For me, a dream shot, it would probably be, I mean, it would be something to do with a lion, but I'm not really going to get a chance to film a lion, so something more realistic. If I got to see a bear, you know, bears are not very common around here, but if I could film a bear, that would be sensational. I would lose my mind. But yeah, that'll wrap it up, guys. So subscribe to the channel. I will be posting a drone review later, probably this week. So if you want to see more footage like this and kind of know my thoughts about this, the price range, and what I think overall about the whole drone, definitely subscribe to stay up to date with that, as well as other future videos that will be coming. 2020 will be a big year. You won't want to miss it, so I'd appreciate that sub as well. And that'll do it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Peace.